SpañolShow.com.
Number 4 is to appoint the successor to fill the unexpired term of Commissioner Joe Jackson's District 6.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that Commissioner-elect Ben Hassan be selected to serve the remaining term of that former Commissioner Joe Jackson,
And to be sworn in
and to
immediately.
be sworn in immediately.
Okay, we have a motion that's been made and properly seconded.
Este es Anibal Ibarra con el informe de la ciudad de Augusta. Los propietarios de inmuebles en el condado de Richmond deberán pagar más por sus casas o terrenos. La Comisión Municipal aprobó el aumento del impuesto a la propiedad en 1.75 por milla y con ello una vivienda evaluada en $100,000, por ejemplo, tendrá que abonar la suma superior a los $70 más por el total de la cuenta anual. Es posible que la nueva tarifa esté llegando a su puerta a fines de septiembre. El pago total debe realizarse para noviembre sin posibilidad de multa. En una jugada magistral a costa de los contribuyentes del condado de Richmond, los comisionados para salvar el pellejo y no dejar sin fondo a la comuna procedieron a aumentar el impuesto a la propiedad luego de 3 audiencias públicas. Durante esas audiencias, residentes de Augusta pegaron el grito al cielo, acusando al alcalde de la ciudad de Copenhague y a los 10 comisionados encargados de la legislación municipal y de balancear el presupuesto de despilfarrar el dinero de los contribuyentes impositivos. Copenhague se retira del cargo de intendente luego de 9 años de estar al frente del Ejecutivo Comunal a fines del 2014. Durante su mandato se ha visto obras de infraestructura grandilocuentes como el Trade Exhibit and Event Center sobre Reynolds Street y James Brown Boulevard, el Palacio Judicial y el edificio de la policía. Estas y otras obras edilicias concretadas bajo la administración Copenhague totalizan un monto superior a los $340 millones en un radio del centro de la ciudad de 1 milla. Y ese es el factor de furia de algunos contribuyentes, quienes se sienten estafados por las autoridades municipales, ya que mientras se han logrado construir obras de envergadura en el centro de Augusta, la inmensa mayoría del condado de Richmond permanece como hace 9 años atrás o peor. Si bien estas obras se materializaron con aprobación del voto popular como el T-Center, el hecho que el costo de las mismas se hayan inflado y que no hayan sido supervisados convenientemente irrita a los contribuyentes. A todo esto se agrega el agravante de proyectos no estipulados en el voto popular como el parking deck, pero que igualmente se construyeron solo a capricho de ciertas autoridades electas y burócratas como el ex jefe administrativo Fred Russell. De acuerdo a los menos optimistas en Augusta, la comuna ha estado encarando proyectos y obras edilicias en los últimos 15 años, comprometiendo seriamente las arcas de la ciudad para los próximos 20 años. Ajustes de cinturones. Para los más optimistas, Augusta puede levantarse del estancamiento moral, político y económico con el nuevo liderazgo municipal a partir del 2015. Sin embargo, con una recaudación debilitada por efecto de leyes irracionales surgidas en Atlanta, el despilfarro del dinero público, la escasez de trabajo, las finanzas de la comuna están seriamente comprometidas. Lo que más enfurece a muchos residentes de Richmond es la miopía política, la desfachatez del manejo de la cosa pública y la total falta de responsabilidad de muchos en la administración municipal. El incremento del impuesto a la propiedad ha sido el único y el último mecanismo que las autoridades comunales han utilizado para balancear el presupuesto de la ciudad. No ha habido serio intento por recortar viajes innecesarios, proyectos de elefantes blancos, gastos legales por errores que pudieron ser evitados. Durante las audiencias públicas previas al voto final por el aumento del impuesto a la propiedad, se ha cuestionado hasta el cansancio por qué se han reducido los servicios públicos como del transporte, recolección de basuras, seguridad, recibiendo como respuesta el citado incremento. Poner el fracaso de la administración de la ciudad en el escuálido bolsillo de sus residentes ha sido quizá el coronario de años de gobierno a espaldas de sus gobernados. Cabe recordar que apenas el 50% de los contribuyentes van a tener que responder a la colecta municipal. Esa es la cantidad señalada en el censo de 2010, mientras que el otro 50% que no es dueño de terrenos van a ser beneficiados junto a los políticos de turno.
For a third or fourth time to set the mill rate, I'd like to make a motion to set the millage rate at a 2013 level with a reduction in the urban service district millage rate of 2.989 to offset the change in the method for the collection of the trash revenue.
Second.
We have a motion that's been made and properly seconded. Commissioner Williams.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a substitute motion that we adopt the mill rate to 1.75 that we had initially talked about. I brought forward to this community, knowing that none of us actually want to raise the tax, but it's a necessary evil, I'll say, that we have to do. And I'm making that in the form of a motion, a substitute motion.
Substitute motion. Okay, do we have any further discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could just read back the substitute motion for clarity.
Substitute motion was to set the 2014 mill rate at 1.75.
Madam Administrator?
A 1.75 increase.
Okay.
We'll get a roll call vote, Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk, a roll call vote has been requested on the substitute motion.
Ms. Davis.
No, ma'am.
Mr. Fenoy.
Yes.
Mr. Guilfoyle.
No, ma'am.
Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Lockett.
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Mine's a definite no.
Mr. Donnie Smith.
No.
Mr. Grady Smith.
No.
Mr. Marion Williams.
Yes.
That motion fails as 5-5. Mr. Mayor, are you prepared?
It's 5-5.
Yes, sir.
Based on the fact that this is the recommendation of staff and that the millage rate has not been increased in 7 years, I will vote in favor of the motion.
That motion carries 6-5, with the mayor voting yes.
Point of personal privilege.
Commissioner Mason?
Actually, I want a point of clarity. Can you let us know who voted yes and who voted no again, Ms. Barner? I've got a question on that number of votes, no votes.
Yes, sir. Ms. Davis voted no. Mr. Fenoy, yes. Mr. Guilfoyle, no. Mr. Hassan, yes. Mr. Johnson, yes. Mr. Lockett, yes. Mr. Mason, no. Mr. Donnie Smith, no. Mr. Grady Smith, no. Mr. Williams, yes.
Welcome aboard.
Okay. Madam Clerk, next agenda item, please.
Next item is the motion to approve the Water and Sewer Revenue Bond Series 2014 bond resolution and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign all necessary documents.
We have a motion that's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Floyd, you're a second? Okay. We have a motion that's been made and properly seconded. Commissioners will now vote by the usual sign.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Guilfoyle?
once the, I'd like to have a point of privilege after this motion determines.
That motion carries 91, with Mr. Williams voting no.
Okay, with no further business to come before the body, we stand adjourned.
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, excuse me. Commissioner Guilfoyle?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I would request of the finance department as well as the HR department, since we're going to be going into the budget session here in a month or so, to present us as far as finance with the last 6 years of department actual use budgets, and for the HR to present us with a last 6 years of department staff, whether it increase or decrease. I would like to see where they both correlate to where we can look at, because the only thing that this adopted mill rate did is put us flat even, but as we continue in the years to come, we're still going to have to make sure that our expenditures and our revenue stays parallel with each other, where if anything, our expenditures decrease to where we could start putting money aside for future use. So I would ask this of the HR as well as finance department. That way it gives you ample time to have it ready. Thank you all so much, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we need to make some changes due to the resignation of Mr. Jackson. Of course, you know, he was the chairman of engineering service. We do have a vice chair, which is Commissioner Bill Fenoy. What I'd like to do is make I guess, probably need to put this in the form of a motion to appoint Commissioner Fenoy as the chairman of engineering service, and of course, Mr. Commissioner Hassan will be serving on engineering service, and he will also serve on administrative service committee as well as so is Commissioner Jackson. So those will be the only two changes, and we will need to appoint a vice chair for engineering service, and Commissioner Davis, I would like to recommend that she serve as vice chair of engineering service.
Move to approve.
Okay, that's all in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
That would need to be a motion to add and approve.
Yes. And approve, yes.
Okay. We have a motion that's been made and properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, Commissioners will now vote by the usual sign. Commissioner Fenoy.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like, at this time to request from the finance department
Carries unanimously.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What I'm hearing from a lot of the taxpayers is that we had a budget for 2014, and we obviously went over that budget. That's why we're in the situation that we're in. What the taxpayers want to know is, where did we go over? What departments went beyond what their budget was? And what is it that, and we need to try to prevent this from happening again.
Ms. Williams?
Your 2014 budget is still in process, so we will not know overages until the end of the year. We can provide the information as of, we gave the quarterly report for the second quarter of the year. You received that as information the last regular commission meeting. But we continue to monitor the budget. The budget for 2014 was not, the problem that we're facing today is not because departments are exceeding their budgets. It's because of the scheduled use of fund balance to fund the spending level for 2014. That amount had to make up the difference between projected revenue and projected expenditures. With a very few exceptions, the departments have absorbed the 2.4% across the board budget reduction that was passed in the 2014 budget. So the departments are not exceeding their budgets.
So, from what I understand, what you're saying is that you cannot make a prediction at this particular time.
No, sir, not a real good one.
Okay,
The
all right,
expenditures are on track right now for
Okay,
the
but-
budgeted level.
But from what I understand, the reason we're requesting the 1.75 is because we had to take so much money from the fund balance to finance the 214,000
That is correct.
operation.
That is correct.
And that's roughly a $5 billion deficit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But the hole is on the revenue side. The level of expenditures that were set for the departments to maintain. The departments are maintaining their budget. With very, very few exceptions, there are no problems that have been encountered at this point. Now, it's going to tighten down as we get closer to the end of the year, as it always does. But the shortfall is on the revenue side. So that's the plug that was put in there to take monies out of your fund balance to shore up your revenue side.
So just for clarity, Richmond County did not get the anticipated revenues that they thought they were gonna get for 2014, or have not.
We knew that our revenues would not match our expenditures due to a combination of things. One of the decrease in sales tax due to the second part of the phase-in of the exception for manufacturing on what we keep talking about, the energy excise tax. Our revenues in some cases are decreasing.
So just for clarity, so what I'm hearing is that when the 2014 budget was set, based on what you just said, sales tax, the energy excise tax, we knew then that we were gonna have a shortfall.
Yes, sir. And it was plugged with use of fund balance when the 2014 budget was adopted. And it has continued to be held at that level. In fact, it was increased when the 2.4% reduction was eliminated for the sheriff's department. It moved the anticipated use of fund balance from $4.5 million to $5.4 million.
And my last question is is this a good business practice?
It's not one that's recommended from the finance department.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Smith, you had your,
I will waive my, thank you.
okay. Commissioner Lockett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, we could have had this same conversation a year ago. Our former administrator tried very hard to convince us that we could not continue spending the way we were spending with minimum amount of revenue we received. But we sort of tuned them out. So now it's coming back a year later. That's even the finance director tried to tell us a year ago, hey, this budget is in deplorable condition. But it's not the departments. We need to point the finger at us. There are lots of decisions we made